A 14-year antique boy named Jake notices an amazing man doll that's a emblem call. He asks the seller for the charge and she replies that it's $20 considering it is an antique object, but Jake manages to barter and buys it for $10. As Jake leaves with the doll, the seller notices that a knife is lacking from her stall. Jake begins evolved paying attention to a criminal offense podcast hosted via way of means of his classmate Devin, who's the son of Hackensack Police Detective Kim Evans. The podcast mentions that human beings have constantly believed saints watch over Hackensack, but crime keeps to upward push. The closing time the homicide feat turned into this excessive turned into in 1965, while serial killer Charles Lee Ray turned into at the unfastened. Jake takes the doll domestic and locations it at the desk. His cat but appears apprehensive via way of means of it as Jake is set to take away the doll's head to apply for his sculpture. His father Lucas walks in. Jake asks for his opinion at the sculpture, however Lucas dismisses it, pronouncing he is now no longer an artwork critic. He tells Jake to forestall losing time on art, make pals and discover a girl buddy due to the fact sculptures may not earn him any cash. Lucas additionally informs Jake that he could not have the funds to ship him to the artwork camp as it cost $1. He in addition tells him that he's turning into much like his mom, however not like him. She failed to try and make a resigning from it. He even says that Jake is beginning to appear to be her. He then tells Jake to get ready due to the fact his cousin is coming over for dinner that night. Jake's cousin Junior arrives together along with his mother and father Logan and Bri. Logan proudly talks approximately how Junior certified for a local strolling opposition and the way he wishes 3 extracurricular sports to get into Harvard. Jake and Junior get into a controversy while Junior mentions organizing a e-book power for homeless human beings. Jake responds via way of means of pronouncing that books are not what homeless human beings genuinely want. Bri attempts to alternate the difficulty via way of means of asking Jake approximately his sculptures. Jake says he is running on them, however Junior mocks him once more, calling him homosexual while he fees Andy Warhol. Lucas yells at them to forestall, pronouncing that he simply would not recognize what he is doing after all, and Sundre leaves. Lucas angrily smashes Jake's sculptures even as Jake begs him to forestall. The following morning Jake reveals his cat useless. The doll remains there, so he searches online to promote it. To his wonder he reveals someone promoting the identical doll for $1,500. He comes to a decision to take the doll Chucky with him to high school. At the bus some college students bully Jake. He sits subsequent to Devin, who's studying against the law mag. While Jake arrives at faculty, a person asks him to introduce them to his cousin Junior. Junior quickly arrives together along with his lady friend Lexi. Lexi compliments Chucky, however while Jake tells her he's making plans to promote it she mocks him, pronouncing his economic scenario have to be so horrific that he has to promote his assets. She even gives to assist with the aid of donating cash in elegance. Their instructor MF assigns them the assignment of dissecting a frog. Jake is visibly scared and panicked, however MF encourages him. He attempts to calm himself down, however while he appears on the frog once more he's horrified to look at brutally dissected. MF comes over to test and is amazed, telling him that he did not want to do it that manner. All of a sudden the whole elegance bursts into laughter as they take a look at their telephones. Lexi has created a GoFundMe webpage to humiliate Jake. After elegance, Jake asks Miss F if she will keep Chucky in her locker on the grounds that his is just too small. She is of the same opinion, after which stops Lexi to speak to her. She warns Lexi to stop bullying Jake, citing the fundraiser she made to mock him. Lexi pretends she did not do something incorrect and insists that she turned into best looking to assist Jake. She additionally boasts approximately being the mayor's daughter. Miss F leaves to name the main Miss McVeigh. As quickly as she leaves, Lexi all of a sudden feels something ordinary while she turns round. Chucky is status there. She receives scared while Miss McVeigh arrives with Miss F. Lexi fast is of the same opinion to delete the webpage and leaves in worry. MF then places Chucky in her locker and leaves. Later Jake is taking note of Devin's podcast while Dion arrives and asks what he is looking. Jake lies, pronouncing he is looking The Vampire Diaries. Devin responds that Jake does not look like either kind and encourages him to arise to his bullies. He additionally admits that he is aware of Jake turned into genuinely looking his podcast and invitations him to the faculty expertise display occurring day after today at domestic. Jake gets a message from a person inquisitive about shopping for Chucky, but as quickly as he stalks his range, someone named Andy warns him to live away from the doll and to test if it has batteries internal. Jake is going to speak to Lucas, who palms him Chucky. Jake is amazed and asks how he located it, explaining that he is looking to promote the doll. Jake is going to his room and researches the doll's records. He learns approximately Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer, and the sample of murders connected to youngsters who very own Chucky. He assessments internal the doll and there aren't any batteries. Because of this, that it turned into speaking without batteries. He throws the doll with inside the trash on the skills display. Devin finishes gambling the piano and Lexi takes over. Because the host, she praises Devin, however then begins a evolved mocking Jake, pronouncing she must inform Devin's dad and mom what is truly occurring among them. Abruptly Chucky speaks, telling Lexi to select out on a person her personal length. The whole target market is stunned. Jake rushes to the level and Chucky holds up Lexi's telecell smartphone, revealing that she has not handiest numerous snapshots of Junior, however additionally of Oliver. He laughs, pronouncing that turned into alleged to be a mystery. Then turning to Bray with inside the crowd, he says all of us have secrets and techniques, do not we? Chucky then begins evolved studying Lexi's seek records, exposing her searching up Botox and different bizarre subjects. Each of them are quick taken off the level while Jake receives domestic. Lucas confronts him, irritated that he embarrassed him on the skills display. Lucas tells Jake to prevent performing bizarre, however Jake fires back, pronouncing that Lucas would not hate him for being bizarre, he hates him due to the fact he thinks he is homosexual. Lucas punches Jake and warns him in no way to speak like that once more, earlier than ordering him to visit his room. Abruptly the electricity is going out as Lucas attempts to repair the strength. Chucky seems and spills a huge quantity of water close to his toes. This triggers an electric-powered surprise and Lucas dies from electrocution. Detective Kim, Devin's mom, arrives and consoles Jake. She informs him that there has been a break-in at faculty ultimate night time and the handiest aspect stolen turned into his canine Chucky. Jake, surprised, tells her that he took Chucky himself due to the fact he wanted it for the skills display. Logan arrives quickly after and comforts Jake. He tells him that any longer he'll stay with him and must set loose to invite if he wishes something. Detective Kim guidelines the case for now as demise with the aid of using misadventure. Br indicates Jake to his new room, after which questions him approximately what he supposed while he sat Ed she had a mystery. Jake quick responds that he turned into simply joking. As quickly as Bray leaves, Jake attempts speaking to Chucky, after which throws him in frustration. However abruptly Chucky sits up and begins evolved speaking. Terrified, Jake asks if he's truly Charles Lee Ray and if he killed his father. Chucky casually replies that Lucas deserved to die. Jake insists that his father wasn't continually like that, however Chucky shrugs it off, pronouncing Lucas had it coming. Then with a sinister smile he provides that now it is Lexi's flip. A younger Charles Lee Ray is proven hiding a blade internal an apple unreason. He then takes a chew, taking part in the sight of his personal mouth bleeding. In the meantime Jake is with inside the vehicle with Junior, who attempts to bully him, but Junior's dad and mom step in and prevent him. While they come at school, Jake turns into the center of gossip. Oliver processes him, expresses his condolences for Jake's father's loss of life and invitations him to a Halloween birthday Earth-Day celebration at his residence. Junior and Lexi note Oliver being typed to Jake and locate it suspicious. Lexi, nevertheless upset with Jake for making a laugh of her, reacts angrily at domestic. Junior's house. Amid Annie's cleansing, she unearths a knife in Jake's room and takes it lower back to the kitchen. As she locations it a number of the different knives, Chucky unexpectedly pushes her from behind. She falls onto the knives, which pierce immediately through her neck. Later Jake and Junior again from college. Jake asks Junior if he desires something to consume, however Junior rudely replies that he does not want to invite for matters in his very own residence. Jake is the primary to note Annie's dead frame, after which Junior sees her too. They right away name their parents. In addition to detectives Kim and Sean, after studying the scene, Logan and Bri provide an explanation for that Annie were with their own circle of relatives for a long term and became like a member of the family. Detective Kim asks approximately Jake and Junior is dating together along with her, and that they defined that Annie raised Junior considering formative years. She additionally had no troubles with Jake and welcomed him warmly. After analyzing the scenario, detectives Kim and Sean finished that Annie by accident slipped and fell onto the knife rack. They even point out a comparable case, pronouncing such incidents appear extra regularly than human beings assume. Later, Jake is going to his room and confronts Chucky, asking why he killed Annie. Chucky denies killing Annie, insisting that she slipped on her very own. While Jake attempts to push him, Chucky refuses to take the blame, pronouncing that he may want to have killed a person with inside the Beyond Weak, however failed to due to the fact he is seeking to assist Jake. He provides that a few human beings need to die and claims he best kills folks that do. In the meantime, Junior overhears Burr telling Logan downstairs that Jake is probably risky. She mentions that he did not have a wholesome upbringing, and after Marie's loss of life, Lucas have become risky, so nobody in reality is aware of what is going on interior Jake's head. Logan responds, pronouncing which you in no way simply recognize what a person is questioning. Later, Junior enters Jake's room and sees his computer open showing photos of Lexi. He warns Jake to live far from her. After Junior leaves, Jake confronts Chucky, asking why he did that. However, Chucky punches him in the attention. Detective Kim questions Devin, approximately Jake, as asking what sort of youngster he's. Devin but defends Jake. In the meantime, Lexi's more youthful sister Carolyn is drawing the image of Chucky while their mother and father come downstairs and reward her paintings. They're heading to a ballroom occasion and inform Lexi to take Caroline trick-or-treating. While Lexi protests, they admonish her and depart. At Oliver's Halloween celebration, Junior arrives sporting his medals. A little later, Jake comes downstairs with a seen bruise round his eye. Logan and Bree count on it is simply a part of his Halloween dress. They ask Jake if he is going to the celebration, however he refuses, pronouncing he desires a while by myself. Jake realizes that Chucky is lacking and, fearing he may kill a person, rushes to Oliver's celebration to locate him. In the meantime, Lexi and Junior have become intimate. Chucky is gambling an online game with Caroline while he casually tells her that he plans to kill her sister. He then receives up and sneaks into Lexi and Junior's bedroom, hiding below the mattress. As Lexi and Junior lie down, Chucky prepares to stab Lexi from below, but earlier than he can strike, a person opens the door and they each depart the room to rejoin the celebration. While Jake arrives on the celebration, a few human beings lock him and Devin in a room as a part of a sport. Later, while Jake comes out, he's taken aback to look Lexi dressed as his father, mimicking his electrocution. It seems this turned into her Marvel Halloween dress. Deeply harmed, Jake bursts into tears, worrying to realize why she is doing this to him. He vows now no longer to permit her escape with it. This time Devin attempts to consolation him. Jake is going lower back internal to locate Chucky. Simply earlier than Chucky is set to kill Lexi, Jake intervenes and takes him domestic. Lower back at domestic, Chucky apologizes for punching Jake in the attention. He then tells Jake that the sector is just like the Super Bowl of killing, kill or be killed. He insists that everybody has to pick out an aspect and that all people may be a killer. He attempts to govern Jake into murdering Lexi, reminding him how she humiliated his father. Chucky starts evolved coaching Jake a way to kill, asking whether he prefers strangulation or stabbing. Jake hesitates and questions what if he isn't always a killer. Chucky smirks and insists that everybody is a killer if driven some distance sufficient. Curious, Jake asks Chucky how he have become a killer. Chucky remembers a youth reminiscence from his birthday and explains a way to pick out a target, a person who annoys them or makes their existence hard. In the meantime, Detective Kim visits Mrs. F to invite questions on Jake, however she refuses to cooperate, pointing out that she cannot divulge any records approximately him. After Magnificence, as Jake is leaving, Mrs. F stops him. She tells him that if he ever desires something or simply desires to speak, he can usually come to her. She additionally mentions that she has visible the video of Lexi bullying him and is arranging a discern trainer assembly. Considering Jake is in a rush, he simply concurs, thank you her, and leaves. Following Chucky's recommendation, Jake starts stalking Lexi, analyzing her to locate the right possibility to kill her someday. As she's out for a stroll, he follows her with a knife. Simply as he is ready to strike, the man or woman turns round, and to Jake's surprise it is simply Junior sporting the equal hoodie as Lexi. Junior calls Jake a weirdo and walks away, whilst Jake speedy hides the knife in the back of his. Again later, Junior confronts Lexi approximately what she did on the birthday Day celebration, telling her that mocking his uncle like that became now no longer okay. He insists that she must make an apology to Jake. After a few to and fro, Lexi eventually concurs. Whilst Lexi arrives domestic, she reveals her little sister Carolyn crying and protesting due to the fact she needs Chucky. Lexi then heads to Jake's residence, in which she reveals him with inside the garage checking out exclusive sharp tools. Lexi assumes Jake is checking out sharp tools for his sculptures and dismisses it as Jake stands in the back of her thinking of whether or not to kill her. She all at once apologizes. She admits that she occasionally takes matters to some distance and should not have mocked him. After apologizing, she asks Jake for a wand. She needs Chucky. Jake without delay refuses, which angers Lexi. Annoyed, she calls him a waste and storms off. Later, Jake tells Chucky approximately the stumble upon. Chucky scolds him for failing to kill Lexi and shows that because she already needs the doll, Jake must simply hand her off, so Chucky can cope with the activity himself. Following Chucky's recommendation, Jake is going to Lexi and offers her the doll. Lexi thank you him, however Speedy clarifies that this does not imply they're pals. She then offers Chucky to Caroline, who's overjoyed. Their mother and father Michelle and Nathan also are gift and be a part of Carolyn in playing with the doll. In the meantime, Mrs. F calls Logan Brimare Michelle and her husband Nathan for a assembly. She emphasizes that protection is a pinnacle precedence at Perry Middle School. Michelle interrupts, proudly declaring that they care deeply approximately protection, that is why they've donated to the faculty safety. Mrs. F then indicates them a video of Lexi bullying Jake at the Halloween birthday celebration. Logan will become furious, traumatic to recognize how they might permit Lexi to mock his brother Lucas. Predominant McVeigh, who's additionally gift, urges them to solve the problem that nighttime whilst her mother and father are away. Lexi hosts a celeb ration at domestic. She invitations Oliver Jr., Devin and some others. After setting Caroline to mattress, Jr. will become angry with the aid of using how pleasant Oliver and Lexi are with every different in particular whilst Oliver brings her liquor. In the meantime, Chucky receives off the bed glances on the drowsing Caroline and whispers that he goes to kill her sister. Carolyn wakes up and springs downstairs searching out Chucky. She asks Lexi approximately him, however Lexi tells her to head returned to mattress while she searches for the doll. A flashback from Charles Lee Ray's early life is proven. A killer breaks into his residence and murders his father, who yells for him to run. Charles's mom takes him and hides in a closet. The killer searches the residence and finally unearths the closet, but whilst he opens the door he sees that Charles has already killed his own mom. Proudly pointing out that he helped, the killer admires Charles for having the heart to do it. Returned with inside the present Chucky aerosol Ivor for Lexi and stabs him. Knowing his mistake, he keeps to stab Oliver repeatedly, taking part in the method till Oliver dies. After killing Oliver, Chucky is going after Lexi, who's nonetheless trying to find him as he tries to assault her. The residence catches Hearthplace Maine to a huge explosion. Lexi sees Chucky and is terrified, breaking down in tears. Chucky attempts to strangle her, however she manages to get away his grip. Moments later, their mother and father arrive and rush the injured kids to the clinic. In the meantime, Jake visits his mom's grave, apologizing for now no longer turning into the character she had was hoping he could be on. The clinic, Jake visits Lexi. She without delay confronts him, asking if he knew approximately Chucky all alongside and whether or not he changed into liable for the maid's loss of life. Jake silently nods, stunned. Lexi needs to recognize why he could supply her the all if he knew the reality. Jake's solutions: actually he wanted her to die due to the fact she were merciless to him. Lex is horrified through his confession and accuses him of being heartless and no higher than a killer. Jake apologizes. In the meantime, Detective Kim questions Devin approximately, Jake asking if he should be worried and what passed off and inquiring approximately his doll. Devin, irritated through his mom's accusations, defends Jake, insisting that he wasn't even on the celebration and could by no means harm all and sundry. Kim then exhibits that it wasn't simply the Hearthplace Oliver were brutally stabbed a couple of instances. Devin without delay informs Jake, suggesting that there need to were an interloper on the celebration somewhere else. Lexi issues approximately her sister, however her mother and father blame her for the whole lot, accusing her of now no longer worrying approximately Carolyn's protection. As Lexi attempts to give an explanation for something approximately Jake, they reduce her off, announcing she has already bullied him sufficient. Nonetheless irritated at Jake, Lexi later confronts him approximately Hucky Jake tells her that they've to deal with it themselves due to the fact no person else will consider them. Decided they determine to go back to the residence to test if Chucky remains alive as they seek. Jake attempts to be typed to La displaying situation for her well-being, but Lexi pushes him away, announcing she doesn't want his kindness, mainly from a person who as soon as desired her useless. In the meantime, Devin becomes intrigued with the aid of using Chucky and begins evolved getting to know him online. He discovers city legends, approximately the killer doll, its connection to Charles Lee Ray, and the way Chucky has left a path of violence and homicide anywhere he has been. On the same time, Logan reassures Junior that the coincidence might not set him again in his athletic profession, calling it only a minor setback. Again on the residence, as Jake and Lexi keep looking, Chucky abruptly seems and shoves Lexi off the first ground just in time. Jake manages to seize her hand, stopping her from falling as Lexi dangles from the ledge. Chucky urges Jake to allow cross, reminding him of the way she bullied him and insisting that is his threat to eventually get rid of her. Chucky then climbs down and attempts to drag Lexi down himself, but Jake refuses to pay attention. He firmly tells Chucky that he isn't a killer and struggles to drag Lexi again up. Chucky keeps attempting to tug her down, however earlier than he can prevail, Detective Sean arrives. He choices up Chucky, declaring that Carolyn has been soliciting for him. Jake and Lexi try and prevent Sean, caution him approximately the doll, however he ignores them. After thanking Jake for saving her, Lexi follows Sean, decided to maintain an eye fixed on Chucky. In the meantime, Jake is taken in for wandering with the aid of using Detective Kim. Sean takes Chucky to the clinic, however stops for a drink earlier than heading to Carolyn's room. As soon as they're he locations the doll beside Carolyn and starts evolved consuming a few biscuits. Abruptly, Chucky stabs him with inside. Again as Sean collapses, Chucky repeatedly assaults him with syringes, stab him time and again once more. In the meantime, Devin unearths Lexi and stalks the entirety he has located, approximately Charles Lee Ray. He explains that Ray changed into referred to as the Lakeshore Strangler, and that when his parents' deaths he changed into dispatched to a foster domestic earlier than sooner or later shifting his soul into a very good man doll. Lexi responds that she and Jake already understand this and that Chucky has already began out killing human beings. A flashback from Charles Lee Ray's youth indicates him in a foster domestic. The alternative kids cherished him due to the fact he entertained them together along with his storytelling, but at some point a janitor scolded Char for disrupting his paintings. In reaction, Charles murdered him and led the alternative children to look the frame, treating it as a journey, while maximum of the kids ran away in worry. One boy stayed inspired with the aid of using his braviness. R later proficient him a severed hand as a token of friendship returned with inside the gift. Jake is puzzled via way of means of Detective Kim. She directly asks if he killed Oliver out of revenge for being bullied on the birthday celebration. Jake denies any involvement. Kim factors out that each one proof appears to steer return to him and his doll, which has now been located at more than one crime scenes. Jake hesitates approximately to expose the reality, approximately Chucky, whilst abruptly an emergency alarm blares via the medical institution. The nurses rush to test on Caroline, simplest to find out Detective Sean's mutilated frame in her room. A flashback indicates younger Charles Lee Ray staring at a blonde lady trying to get in detail near a person. The man, visibly pissed off, pushes her away and leaves. Charles methods the lady flirts together along with her, and he or she Speedy will become inquisitive about him. They invite any other lady, Tiffany, to sign up for them later. With inside the bed room, Charles pulls out a knife and prepares to kill Tiffany. The blonde lady panics and attempts to prevent him, however to her surprise Tiffany is actually excited and keen to be killed. Intrigued via way of means of her response, Charles shifts his interest. Rather than killing Tiffany, he stabs the blonde lady, after which permits Tiffany to sign up for in letting her stab the sufferer. As nicely they each revel with inside the second, bonding over the act returned with inside the gift. Carolyn wakes up and asks Nathan for Chucky. Nathan hesitates, telling her that the doll appears lousy after being burned with inside the hearthplace, but Carolyn insists, so he retrieves Chucky for her. The instant she sees its broken, charred face, she will become fearful. Nathan disposes of the doll with inside the trash. Lexi arrives and asks approximately the doll. Nathan informs her that he threw it away. Lexi at once tells Jake and Devin they anticipate that Chucky could have been buried beneath the accumulated trash, probably killing Notwithstanding Lexi locating it disgusting, they search via the disposal web page, however fail to discover the doll. The following day Mrs. F advises them that in the event that they ever experience overwhelmed or want to speak, they could speak in confidence to her. Later Jake, Lexi and Devin mention Chucky's viable whereabouts. They finish that he possibly hasn't left Hackensack as it is his place of birth. To music him down, they want to parent out who his subsequent target is. Probably they do not forget telling Junior. However, Lexi dismisses the concept, announcing he wouldn't accept as true with them due to the fact he lacks creativeness. Junior notices them whispering and attempts to sign up for the communique via way of means of casually asking in the event that they have visited the brand new topic park. All of them respond that they have not. Earlier than he can ask. Similarly, Mrs. F returns and all of them take their seats. In the meantime, Nathan brings Caroline a latest doll named Tommy. Carolyn starts gambling with it. Lexi suspicious alternatives up the doll and attempts to make it speak, however it stays silent. Seeing not anything uncommon, she returns it to Caroline and leaves. Chucky watches Carolyn gambling with the brand new doll. He sneaks into the room and plays a ritual, moving his soul into Tommy a brief at the same time as later Nathan enters the room and notices the burnt Chucky doll. Nonetheless, mendacity close by without giving it a good deal idea, he alternatives it up and throws it into the trash can. Later Lexi, Devin and Jake retrieve the burnt Chucky doll from the trash can and break it via way of means of time and again preventing on it till it's absolutely shattered. Believing they've eventually gotten rid of him, they cheer and have fun, satisfied that Chucky is gone for precise. In the meantime, Mayor Michelle holds a press convention to reassure the general public because the occasion starts. Junior joins Lexi, Devin and Jake and asks what they're discussing. Lexi blurts out the entire reality in a single breath that a killer doll has been murdering human beings and that they're looking to prevent it. Junior accuses her of creating up ridiculous tales and tells her that if she does not need to be sincere, she should not hassle Speakman in any respect. On the convention, Mayor Michelle assures the general public that Hackensack stays one of the most secure towns inside the International and that the latest murders have been remote incidents that might not happen once more. But simply as she finishes speaking, Detective Kim steps ahead to present a briefing while all at once a decapitated head rolls onto the degree, surprising the target market because the curtains pull lower back. The relaxation of the mutilated frame is discovered. It's Miles Essential McVeigh of Perry Middle School. Jake, Lexi and Devin, who are sitting with inside the crowd, are horrified. They right now understand that Chucky remains alive. In the meantime, Junior breaks up with Lexi and angrily accusing her of now no longer being concerned approximately why him anymore and by no means being there for him some other place. Tiffany Valentine, who has transferred her soul into the well-known actress Jennifer Tilly, is in a motel room with Nick Pierce. The two look like getting intimate, however there may be additionally a person tied as much as a chair close by. Tiffany in short leaves to see something and at that second not all at once snaps lower back to fact and regains manage of her frame. She seems round in confusion, looking to discern out wherein she is appearing. Speedy she gets rid of the gag from the person's mouth and explains that Chucky murdered her entire own circle of relatives and framed her for the crimes, main to her being devoted to a psychiatric clinic. She in addition reveals that Chucky has break up his soul into more than one dolls, however additionally left a fraction interior her. Due to this she continuously switches among being herself and turning into Chucky, but on every occasion she is not. Her legs remain paralyzed. She hurriedly starts untying the person, however earlier than they are able to get away. Tiffany returns. Nick all at once stands up, indicating that Chucky has taken yet again. With a sinister smile she slits the person's throat and coldly tells him that let's maintain this nonsense among us. Andy, Barkley and Kyle arrive at a residence and knock at the door. A Man Solutions, and that they introduce themselves as representatives from the United States Census. The person tells them to return back again later as they're inside the center of dinner. Kyle insists that it might not take lengthy and they simply want to make sure everybody within identical time. Bree visits her therapist physician Amanda, who urges her to inform her own circle of relatives the fact that she has been recognized with level 4 most cancers. Bree eventually opens as much as her husband Logan, who embraces her with tears in his eyes. Later she prepares to inform Junior. Not able to address the communique, Logan leaves the room. Bree lightly reassures Junior, telling him that he would not want to fear that irrespective of what occurs she will usually be his mom and they'll combat At this collectively Jake is eavesdropping at the communique. Listening to Bree's revelation, he feels deeply unhappy. Tiffany is packing a bag whilst Chucky nevertheless in Nas frame strategies her and teasingly locations a foot on her briefcase. Irritated, Tiffany grabs a knife and slashes his foot. The ache is so extreme that it forces Nake's real persona to resurface. Seeking to call it up, Nas pretends to nonetheless be Chucky and sits right all the way down to play playing cards with Tiffany. As they play, Tiffany intentionally brings up antique recollections, trying out Nas' potential to hold up whilst Na hesitates. Tiffany smirks and exhibits that she has usually recognized whilst it is absolutely not. To Nake's surprise, Tiffany admits that she surely likes it that men are having each Chucky and Na in a single frame earlier than Na can react. Tiffany all at once grabs a frying pan and knocks her out. In the meantime, Jake and Devin look for Andy Barkley's wide variety online. Devin discovers that Andy's babysitter turned into certainly considered one among Chucky's first sufferers, and that Andy has, for the reason that devoted his lifestyles to searching down and doing away with correct man dolls. Once they eventually get through to him, Andy warns them that Chucky is coming for them and they want to be prepared. He additionally assures them that he's on his manner to assist on the equal time. Bree arrives at her therapist's workplace whilst Junior waits with inside the automobile. Earlier than leaving, she turns to him and tells him that she loves him very a great deal. For the duration of her consultation, she admits that she does not need to hold her remedy in preference to prolonging her struggling. She desires to stay the relaxation of her days. Fortuitously, lifestyles is unpredictable. She argues that she may want to get hit with the aid of using a bus at any second, so she does not see the factor in making herself depressing. Seeking to combat it after the consultation, she pauses with the aid of using a big window with inside the constructing, searching down at the road beneath. All at once Chucky seems and pushes her out. She plummets to the floor, landing on automobile proper in the front of Junior. Her dying is dominated a self-damage act. Dr. Amanda tells the own circle of relatives that Bree most effective desired them to be glad, so she sacrificed herself. Logan but reacts coldly, calling her a quitter who ran far from life in preference to dealing with it. As Dr. Amanda leaves, she advises them to attain out if they ever want assist as soon as Logan is long past. Jake tells Junior that he does not accept as true with Bree's dying is a suicide. Junior snaps at him, accusing him of bringing dying and chaos anywhere he is going. Later, Devin researches methods to kill Chucky whilst his mom, Detective Kim, walks in and sits beside him. Sensing something is on his thoughts, she lightly asks approximately Jake and whether or not being round him offers him butterflies. Devin hesitates, then nods. Kim reassures him that it is okay and that she helps him regardless of what. Devin then keeps looking a video on ghost searching strategies in which a person makes use of steel thread to lure spirits. This offers him a concept that nighttime Jake, Lexi and Devin installation a lure using steel thread, tying it throughout doorways and home windows to save you Chucky from escaping. As they look for him, they decide on power all of a sudden is going out. Lexi, by myself in an upstairs room, all of a sudden feels a presence in the back of her. She turns to see Chucky status there, grinning. He SCOFFS her, pronouncing he has been ready goodbye to kill her and now he ultimately has his danger. Earlier than attacking, he gives her a deal that he'll spare her lifestyles if she kills Jake. Listening to Jake drawing near, Lexi pretends to bear in mind the provide maintaining Chucky. Distracted, Jake lunges at Chucky, however Chucky reacts rapidly, slashing Jake's leg together along with his knife. Earlier than fleeing downstairs, Devin chases after him. Simply then Detective Kim arrives domestic and rushes internal. She runs up the steps to test on Devin, however Chucky shoves her down. She falls violently, breaking her neck. Upon effect, Devin, frozen in shock, watches as his mom lies dead at the lowest of the steps. A funeral takes region. Lexi and Jake provide their condolences. Lexi's mom expresses her sympathy, however then quietly says she has an assembly downtown and wishes to depart. Lexi and Nathan are bowled over via way of means of her insensitivity. Devin publicizes that he may be dwelling together along with his aunt now. On the meantime, Jake wonders why Chucky is concentrated on their dad and mom and what his actual cause is. In addition, they comprehend that Chucky tricked Detective Kim via way of means of calling her at the Telcel smartphone and telling that Devin changed into in threat, but Devin has changed his thoughts. He not desires to pass after Chucky. Jake attempts to persuade him, caution that they'll be separated and killed one at a time, however Devin not cares. Lexi tells them she cannot assist both due to the fact her own circle of relatives has grounded abandoned her, believing she is answerable for the entirety. Junior arrives and yells at Jake, blaming him for ruining the entirety. He claims that humans began our demise after Jake confirmed up. Whilst Lexi defends Jake, Jr. punches him with inside the face and storms off. Logan Jr.'s father arrives and tests if Jake is okay. All of a sudden an elaborate automobile pulls up and well-known actress Jennifer Tilly steps out. She walks immediately to Logan, hugs him, gives her condolences after which suddenly kisses him. Logan stands nevertheless searching, bowled over. Seeing this, Junior assumes his father changed into dishonest on his mom. A flashback suggests Charles, Luray and Tiffany arriving at a brand new residence after stealing an automobile and killing its proprietor. Later Jake visits Devin and asks what he plans to do. Devin explains that he cannot live together along with his aunt for all time. He will stay with her for per week. Earlier than being dispatched to a foster domestic, Jake tells him he would not need him to depart. He even idea about going for walks away, however, could not endure to be a component from Devin. Devin replies that they cannot be collectively due to the fact on every occasion he appears at Jake he recollects his mom's dying. Jake leaves. In the meantime, Mayor Michelle holds a press conference saying that a suspect has been stuck in reference to the current murders and that justice could be served speedy. She insists Hackensack is still secure and encourages the network to transport ahead to assist all people heal. She is organizing a charity occasion known as Frankenstein, amusing family-friendly horror film nighttime. The proceeds will visit Better Day Children's Hospital, and a unique visitor could be freely giving desirable man dolls to youngsters. At some stage in the occasion, a person asks Caroline if she desires to be mayor like her mom. Caroline replies that Chucky advised her to kill her mother. Stunned, Michelle at once sends her interior at domestic. Logan sits toilet bath. However, he reveals not anything earlier than leaving. Andy tells Junior to allow Jake recognize he stopped with the aid of using as quickly as Andy is long gone. Chucky emerges from the bathroom and smirks, announcing that he knew he would not test right here. In the meantime, Lexi and Jake are still seeking to determine out why Chucky is manipulating human beings into killing rather than doing it himself. There need to be a larger purpose in the back of it. Lexi asks Jake wherein the doll he added from the bus station is. Jake says it is with inside the kitchen. Once they flip to appearance, the doll is status there protecting a knife, simply as it is approximately to assault. Kyle bursts in and shoots it more than one instances. Kyle introduces herself, explaining that Andy dispatched her and that she's his female friend. Jake and Lexi inform her that their pal Devin is in threat and ask what number of Chucky dolls exist. Kyle replies that there are a lot of them and that obtaining rid of them will take a variety of paintings and caffeine. Chucky takes Junior to his residence. In the meantime, Tiffany is ready to inject Nico with a syringe while Chucky walks in. Seeing part of his soul killed makes him furious. He assaults Tiffany, reminding her how generally he has killed her earlier. Then Tiffany begs for her existence, announcing his plan might not paintings without her. All at once Nas switches to her Chucky persona and tells him to prevent. Chucky backs off and greets Nika's Chucky. He asks wherein the relaxation in their allies are. Nika's Chucky grins and exhibits that the whole good guy doll army is right here and they're all alive. Chucky is thrilled, announcing that at method his plan has labored. He then orders the dolls to be loaded onto a truck. He introduces Junior to the relaxation of the institution and tells him that he goes to kill Devin. Subsequent, Junior hesitates, asking if he surely has to kill Devin. Chucky turns his interest returned to Nas. Chucky ignoring Tiffany, absolutely aggravated. Tiffany interrupts, however Chucky dismisses her and maintains his communique with then's Chucky. Tiffany turns into irritated with Chucky and expresses her frustration, approximately how actual guy must deal with a girl on the identical time. Na all at once collapses and her real persona begins to evolve to expose. Chucky realizes that part of Nika's actual self continues to be there, so he comes to a decision to dispose of her. He tells Tiffany to do it, however she refuses. She explains that she likes having Na around due to the fact while Chucky isn't always there, Na reminds her of him. Chucky would not care and reminds her that there are numerous different variations of him. Tiffany nonetheless would not need to do it, so Chucky orders Junior to kill Na alternatively. However, earlier than Junior can act, Tiffany all at once assaults Chucky and slashes his throat. She is fed up together along with his conceitedness and controlling nature. She then well-known shows a stunning reality that she become the only who advised the police. Approximately Chucky in Chicago. The nighttime he walked out on her after she complained that they now not killed collectively she known as the police and gave them data approximately the Lakeshore Strangler. After that she offers Junior a rope to tie up Na and warns him that Chucky would not have helped him if the police had observed his father's frame. Then she leaves with Junior, who takes one of the Chucky dolls. Earlier than going she units a bomb on the front door with the intention to explode if a person opens it within the residence. Chucky's severed head offers an order to his frame to kill Devin because the frame begins evolved shifting. Andy sneaks in and via the return door and destroys it quickly after Jake arrives and sees what has occurred. Kyle, who become warned through Jake and Lexi all at once, enters the residence and calls Andy's call. Andy realizes that the front door is ready to blow up and desperately attempts to prevent her. However, earlier than he can do something, Kyle locks the door and the entire residence blows up. Kyle had secretly drugged Jake and Lexi to save them from following her and moving into Chance. The following morning they awaken and recognize what had occurred. While Lexi tests her TEL-SL smartphone, she is greatly surprised and tells Jake to examine the information. They see that Charles L. Ray's residence become destroyed in an explosion. Jake all at once recalls that Devin become there and panics. They presume him as useless. Lexi hugs him looking to consolation him. Jake then is going to Devin's residence wherein he seems via Devin's matters simply. Then Devin arrives. Jake, relieved, tells him that he became lifeless. Devin explains that he managed to get away. However, Andy and Kyle have been nonetheless internal while the explosion took place. He additionally well-known shows that Junior had killed his personal father and became now operating with Chucky. He warns Jake that if Chucky convinces a person to be like him, it permits him to create extra killers and construct some other army. In the meantime, Your Michelle begins a charity occasion called Frankenstein. She invitations Jennifer on degree, who's preserving a doll. Carolyn, seeing the doll, needs it and Jennifer arms it over to her. Michelle then proclaims that 72 accurate man dolls can be donated to the youngsters at Better Day Health Facility from their unique visitor Jennifer Tilly. A truck complete of dolls is proven later. All through film nighttime on the theater, Junior arrives and requires Lexi. She follows him internal and he leads her to an empty nook. There he attempts to persuade her to enroll in him in killing human beings. While she refuses, Chucky orders Junior to kill her. Lexi pleads with Junior now no longer to pay attention. However, Junior insists that Chucky has proven him what it way to be a person. Lexi attempts to remind Junior of who he surely is. She tells him that he isn't always a monster, he's the equal type, unswerving and loving individual she as soon as cared for. He does now no longer have to show into a person merciless. As Chucky urges Junior to assault Lexi, Junior unexpectedly turns in opposition to Chucky as an alternative, stabbing him with inside the chest, but Chucky additionally stabs Junior and go back. Junior collapses and Lexi catches him in her hands, begging him now no longer to die together. Along with his final breath, Junior apologizes for the entirety he has done earlier, then passing away on the equal time. Chucky, who's sitting subsequent to Caroline, whispers to her that he is ready to begin killing human beings because the film performs. Nathan takes a seat subsequent to Michelle. Unexpectedly, Chucky stabs him from beneath the chair. Blood drips from his mouth onto the popcorn, which Michelle unknowingly eats. Knowing something is inaccurate, she appears beside her and screams, and horror panic spreads as humans begin strolling and Chucky starts evolved attacking anyone in sight, stabbing without discrimination. Jake arrives to confront Chucky. The two combat and Chucky mocks Jake, telling him that being a hero is vain due to the fact no person will consider him. He claims that after the entirety is over, humans will remember him as the mastermind at the back of all of it, and Hackensack could be referred to as the start line of his invasion. Chucky profits the top hand and scoffs Jake, mocking him for being susceptible and making a laugh of being homosexual. Jake fights lower back with all his electricity, strangling Chucky till his eyes bulge because the combat ends. Lexi arrives and tearfully tells them approximately Junior's dying. In the meantime, Tiffany orders the truck driving force to get to the theater on time, but earlier than she will attain it, Andy manages to hijack the truck and pressure away with all of the dolls, leaving Tiffany screaming in rage. Jake, Lexi and Devin watch as Andy escapes with the truck. In the truck, a Tiffany doll speaks from at the back of and threatens Andy, caution him to pressure in which she desires or she can be able to shoot him. Day after today, Jake, Lexi and Devin go to the graves of those who had been murdered. They talk whether or not they must inform Mrs. F approximately the entirety that came about. As they communicate, she stands silently at the back of them listening. However, in the long run they determine to maintain the reality to themselves. In the meantime, Tiffany takes drastic motion to save Chucky from the use of Na's frame. Once more she cuts off each of Nate's legs while Na sees what has been completed to her. She screams in horror. The collection ends with Chucky giving a chilling précis of all his killings, describing how he performed every one and insisting that each sufferer deserved their fate.